In this video, we're going to look at the math of rough cut capacity planning, okay, which is what occurs at the master production schedule. So if you haven't gone back and listened to resource planning, I would encourage you to do that now, although it doesn't stop you from looking at this video here. But going back to resource planning, that occurred up at the S&OP level, and the example we used was 150,000 a month that S&OP had for a production plan, and it passed it over to resource planning, and resource planning looked at the bottleneck resources. I think in my example, I looked at labor and space as the critical, kind of the critical shutdown resources, and then we looked at load versus capacity. We do the same thing here at master production schedule level. At the master production schedule level, now we're getting down to the part number, the quantity, and the dates we're going to build. So before, at the S&OP level, where we were looking at volumes, now here we're looking at variety or product mix. We're at the part number level. But we do the same thing, is instead of asking what are the critical resources, now that we have the a little bit more detail, now we're saying, hey, what are the bottlenecks that we could have? We're sized properly at the S&OP level, but I could have been thinking the mix was going to be 60-40, and it turned out to be 35-65. And so even though we're okay at the S&OP level, we could still be in trouble here because of the mix. So, again, this could be, we ask the same question. Well, what's the bottlenecks in the operation based on the new master production schedule that we come up with? And we would, it could be the drill press area that we find out we've got a problem with. And we look at those specific items and we say, okay, what are we going to build? Maybe it's 20,000 a month, and we multiply it by, well, what's the specific drill press rate? Let's say it's 10 holes per minute that we have to drill. Then if we do the math, I've got to be able to drill a total of what? 20,000 times 10 holes. I've got to be able to do the math and be able to drill 300,000 holes when all's said and done, whatever that time is. And so I have to look at what the capacity is, how many can I do, and if the math is done by the department and says no problem, we have the capability of drilling 500,000 holes in a day or in an hour, then we're in great shape. If not, then I have to deal with it. So it's the same logic as resource planning, but now we're down at a little bit different level because instead of overall volumes, we're down to the mix level and we're looking at part numbers, quantities, and dates and asking which ones are the bottlenecks. And we compare what the load is versus what's available. And then if we're in good shape, then we pass it down to MRP. If I'm not in good shape, I've got to resolve the difference between capacity and workload before I proceed on. Otherwise, something has to change in the schedule.